Hi, I today prepared a class that is going to happen on using the wall. So you need to get a wall, and also if you have a beach towel, a blanket, or a big pillow or bolster like this, we're going to use it at some point later. So you probably have done this, bringing the legs up the walls before. But if you haven't, and if you're gonna need a little help to get to the position in an easier way, the easiest way is to get pretty close to the wall on your side, and then lying down on that side, that shoulder, and then you're pretty close to bring the legs up. Otherwise, sometimes you end up, like being here, you lift the legs, then you have to scoot to the wall, and it's a lot more work. So once you are there, before we take some time to be in a more relaxed, fully relaxed position, let me show you some shapes that you can do with your legs to to get some stretch while you're doing this shape. So you can bring the soles of the feet to the wall and create this position that is like being on a squat. You're gonna turn the toes out, so your knees and your toes point more or less in the same direction. You're gonna try to lower your heels as far as you can, with still keeping the pelvis on the floor, and try to allow for your spine and your whole torso to be relaxed and flat. Bring the shoulders down and find a place for your arms to relax too. And take at least 5 breaths of this. And then from here we can come into another shape that is called Baddha Konasana, meaning bound. The Baddha part is bound, bringing the soles of feet together. So that is the bound part. And allowing for the knees to open towards the wall, right? So getting a nice gentle stretch on the inner thighs, maybe not so gentle. You can take it pretty passively, or you might want to be more active and or more, getting a little deeper on that stretch and setting your hands on your inner thighs and pushing your knees towards the wall. And again, you can take some breath there. If you're doing this, pressing the legs towards the wall, you may get a nice sense of elongation through the lower back that could feel relieving, releasing those tight muscles. Again, continue softening and letting everything be supported, kind, loving. Right? And then for the last pose, let's scoot a little bit back and then we'll scoot a little bit forward. I guess I lied when I said we weren't going to be scooting towards the wall. But in here, I'm having you have that space because this next one tends to be a little tight for most of us. So we might be better having a little space there. We're going to keep the knees, both knees bent, the soles of feet on the wall, a little more hip width apart now. And then bring your right ankle. You might extend the left leg a little and bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh, close to your knee. And try to go for having the foot coming straight out of the thigh. So your ankle is on top of the thigh. That way, you're not just using the flexibility of your ankle when we get into the shape, but you're concentrating on creating the movement from your hip. We want that rotation coming from the hip. The right knee is going to slowly move towards the wall if you have that room. The left knee, the leg that is on the wall, can maybe bend a little more. And I want you to play with, at the same time that you're getting into this deep stretch, keeping the back of the pelvis on the floor. It might want to lift up, and you might want to round your lower back because this is not moving so well. So find a place where you can keep the pelvis on the floor and still getting a good rotation with that right thigh. Again, maybe you can find some space for softening. Imagine breathing into all those tight tissues, joints, ligaments and tendons and muscles. Although we are not really breathing any deeper than the lungs, the movement of breath is what gets other things moving. So think of that, breathing deeply into the belly and even pelvic floor and into the pelvis, and then expanding into the rib cage. And on exhale, start allowing the ribs to compress the lungs, and towards the end, belly comes in, pelvic floor tones. And especially if you are pretty, this is pretty intense, keep playing with those two sides, extreme parts of the breath. As you exhale, engage your pelvic floor and feel that strength of all those muscles connecting in that pelvis to get you maybe the possibility of moving a little deeper while you have that sense of tone everywhere. Great. So we're going to extend the left leg and bring the right leg to the floor and bring the left ankle then on top of the right thigh and start bending the right knee as far as is reasonable. Right? It's that combination of the rotation of the left thigh. Sides tend to be different, so don't try to immediately go for the same type of movement that you were having on the other side. Listen, feel what's going on, and if things are moving differently, maybe why. Do you have any information from the sensations you're experiencing? And can you continuously come back to the sensations? And if anything, when you start thinking about sensations and maybe having some aversion, maybe you don't like that things are not flexible or that you yesterday were doing better or whatever it is, right? Come back to the feeling and notice that moment, that separation between thoughts, the sensation, the thought, the reaction, and making a little more space in between all those things. Right. When you're ready, extend the right leg, extend the left leg, and now let's go a little more towards the wall again. And you can do this next one, which is basically keeping the legs relatively extended, supported by the wall, and the torso supported by the floor in this very relaxing way. Just like this, with your hips on the floor, or have a little lift of the pelvis. Feels it's soft, right? So it feels nice to have something soft behind the pelvis, but it's making the whole body to be a little higher than the heart. And in that way, it's creating all the benefits of a full inversion, making it easier for the system to get all that vein return. Maybe feel your heartbeat slowing. You feel your upper body heavy against the floor and see if you can soften it even more. Release tension of your mouth. You can bring the lips a little bit away from each other and relax your tongue down to the base of the mouth. Feel the cavity of your mouth widening, your cheeks softening, your forehead wide. Breathing in and breathing out. If at any point it feels more natural to let the breath be coming in and out that way naturally, like giving the control of the breath back to your body, do that. And you might want to keep the mind observing that moment. It could be an anchor every time that you notice that you're getting lost in thought. And keep returning. That is the practice. Deepening your listening, clearing your awareness. It's a continuous thing. We keep practicing that in a loving, open, kind way. And when you're ready, you can stay here for as long as you want, right? This is very, very nice. But when you're ready, you're gonna start bending the knees and taking a moment with those knees bent. And then taking another moment when you roll to the side. So you give your body a moment to feel more stable, the blood pressure. Yeah. And then when you're ready, come up and take a seat. Namaste.